Well, good afternoon. And here we are on the brink of Memorial Day weekend. And sometimes you need something special to kick off summer, or at least officially, not officially summer, but we're getting close enough that we're going to call it summer. And we are thrilled today that the Head and the Heart is here with us, or at least three members of the band are here with us. They will play Stage AE tonight. They have a new release out called Every Shade of Blue. So I am going to welcome you to the WYEP studios and invite you to kick off with the song.
Thanks, Rosemary.
This song's called Every Shade of Blue.
I got a sad girl at home. She wants to hang up the phone. It's been a long year, the wrong year to be left alone. Promises made, sandcastles break, wave after wave. Promises made, go ahead, change, I'll see you the same. I don't wanna wait to get where we're going, scared to death to die and not really knowing you. Every shade of blue, underneath the sky, out in the open, every little bit, I can't get enough of you. And every shade of blue. She's made of water and wine. It's only natural she cries. You can imagine that it's magic anytime she smiles. Promises made, sandcastles break, wave after wave. Promises made, go ahead, change, I'll see you the same. I don't wanna wait to get where we're going, scared to death to die and not really knowing you. Every shade of blue, underneath the sky, out in the open, every little bit, I can't get enough of you. Every shade of blue. What if tonight was never ending? Make a fortress in the dark, somewhere that we could stop pretending and just be happy where we are. Are we happy where we are? I don't wanna wait to get where we're going, scared to death to die and not really knowing you. Every shade of blue, underneath the sky, out in the open, every little bit, I can't get enough of you. Every shade of blue.
.3 WYEP Pittsburgh. We are here in studio with the Head and the Heart. The new album, once again, Every Shade of Blue. And so it's perfect. The album opens with that title track. And you did the same thing here. You opened with that song. So you're sort of inviting people into the show, but also into the album. So I often think that when somebody begins an album with the title track, that it's a statement about what the album is about and where the direction is going. Would that be correct with this one?
I suppose so. I don't put that much thought into it, to be honest. I mean, it just felt like I don't know. It just felt like the right first room to walk into as a house. So maybe that's the same thing. I just think of it differently. It just seems like the first room in the house to me, I guess.
There's a bit of a like collective sort of shared just experience of the song that everyone in the band had when we first kind of heard it and first kind of sort of living in the song. And so I think in a lot of ways it does sort of represent sort of a broad spectrum of what the sonic kind of nature of the album is. And so in the same way, it's the room that you walk into in a sense.
I think from my perspective, it kind of felt like a bridge track, kind of between the record previous and like leading into this. It felt like it just felt fitting, and I think unanimously we just it resonated with each of us.
It's been about 3 years since the last record, and it's not just any 3 years. This is for everybody out there listening. We've all had, the last 2-3 years have been challenging in many different ways, and I'm sure this one has as well. And I definitely get that feel of this. There was an Instagram post that I saw that I see, which one I'm probably talking about.
I just think it's funny when it's referenced, but yeah.
It's a quote. It says, "It is a record that tries to its best to reconcile who we once were with who we are now and hope one day to become." That sounds like something I'd hear in a confessional, but here it is on a record. So please, expound upon this.
Maddie was the one to articulate that, so you should take it away.
I was feeling very philosophical that day. Yeah, I think so much about the music that we make, and really anybody that's doing what we do. So much more than just the music is in there in these songs, and so much life is put into them, and it just represents. It's kind of impossible to contain or even explain that sort of the quantity of our humanity that goes into these things. And also just the shared experience that is basically impossible to convey to anyone. But that's the reason why we do it. And we've all gone through such an insane few years, so much, trauma and just displacement and confusion and all the things that we've gone through as a culture. It happens microcosmically and macrocosmically. And I feel like our band has gone through our own upheavals while the world was doing the same. And you no matter what, you can't escape from it. You have to embrace it and learn what you're going to learn from it. And so in a way, the album, even if it's not any one song in particular, it represents a sort of, for us, where we were and who we were during that transformation. And ideally, we come out on the other side better people. You know what I mean?
Well, and also it's something that you're going to bring to an audience. So I always believe that it's one thing to create a song in a studio. It's quite another thing to bring that back out to the stage, because it grows. It changes with every audience. They're going to have different reactions to it. So who knows, where it's going to go from here. It's still growing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been an interesting, that exact thing you're describing, Rosemary, is like, I think I've had quite a bit of time to imagine what it would be like, playing these songs live. And it's interesting. I think we've only played, 4 or 5 shows so far on this tour. And it's been really challenging to go up against, I don't know if it's expectations or just ideas that I had of what songs live with other songs well, in terms of flow of a set list, also what's going to translate to strangers hearing this song for the first time and you seeing them, or live at least, performing them for the first time. It's been interesting. I don't know that I have an end point to this point yet, but that's been my biggest challenge on this tour so far, is like, who are these songs? Yeah.
Well, I am going to introduce you guys, because I haven't done that yet. We've said the Head and the Heart, but Jonathan Russell is here with us. Charity Rose Thielen and Maddie Gervais is here with us as well. And right before we jump into this next set of songs, I had asked you before we hit the stage to talk about the anatomy of a song, because for people who don't write music, there's almost something that feels magical about how you create music. But I'm sure there's more than just magic. There might be magic in it, but there's also just probably trial and error and such. So tell me about a song and how it came to be.
Yeah, we decided we'd kind of go through the story of the song "Don't Show Your Weakness." It was actually one of the first songs we recorded for this record, and it's had a very, I guess you could say, atypical origin story, where Charity, myself, and Kenny got together as a writing group, which never happens really. It's the first time we had ever done such a thing, and Kenny flew up to Seattle to spend a few days working on stuff with us, and we kind of sat awkwardly in our little studio in our backyard, and just kind of like looked at each other like, what do we do, you guys? And then we just started, he just sat down at the piano, and I just picked up a little Nashville tuned acoustic, and we just started just basically doing this meditative thing on G, and it very quickly kind of turned into like 2 or 3 different parts, and Kenny's very much like part-oriented composer. So he created these kind of really cool melodies that you kind of really pick out in the like the bridge or the pre-chorus. It's like it's very like classical almost, and so he kind of came up with that.
And I remember, just to jump in, he would we are lucky to have 2 pianos in our house, one in the studio and one in our main house, and Kenny, I just remember, would frequently leave the studio, go into our living room so he could be by himself and work things out. And then you and I started, I think I had the chorus melody, and then we started working on or the verse stuff, and working out the vocal melodies.
Yeah, and then we're gonna just put ourselves in the context of this time frame too. So this is January 2020. It's pre-pandemic, although it's going on without any of us realizing. And Kenny, of course, is from Los Angeles, and he just so he flew up to Seattle for this thing. And I think the day after we started this song is when Kobe Bryant passed away with in the helicopter crash. And Kenny is Kobe Bryant is a heavenly figure in his life, and so a lot of the trauma from losing this person for him, I think, went into this song as well in a kind of weird way, and so there was just before we knew what we were going to go through as a country, as a world, this thing happened, and it especially hit Kenny, because of how invested he was in Kobe Bryant and as a hero of his, and so this happened in the context of it. And so, anyways, just dropping that is this is where
background.
Yeah, this is all happening while the song's being written.
About any of that.
Yeah.
And then lyrically, I remember I feel like I was mumbling the chorus something, and we kept repeating it. And then a few days later in the kitchen, after dinner, right, you brought in the lyrics for the chorus.
Yeah,
I was that's brilliant.
The lyrics for the chorus just kind of poured into me. Is one of those things where the cliche you hear about all the great songs are just happen in 15 seconds, and this one definitely did. Just was oh, boom, there it is. Okay, thank you. I didn't have to think about that too hard, because a lot of times I can be extremely, nitpicky, and it'll take me months to finish a song. But this one was done very quickly, both musically and lyrically. And then we recorded it post-pandemic, right in March of that year. We were going to get together as a band, but of course that got sidetracked by the pandemic and everything closing down, and so we did it remotely, and this was one of the first songs that we did remotely. So,
well, let's hear it. It's the head and the heart.
You sure you don't want to hear more about it?
We can keep the toes of the anatomy.
I mean, we could talk for another 20 minutes about it. The song's called "Don't Show Your Weakness."
It's the feeling when you first know that you're older, and the years show. I know everyone said to put it to bed. Baby, just pack up and head home. But it's too hard for you to let go. All the waiting, are we failing still? Swore that we'd find gold in these damn hills. Don't show your weakness, I'm beginning to see it. Time for the reset. Don't you know that you need it? It'll hit you when you least expect it, and your words will fail you. But our time here is just too fragile to touch, so do what you must to protect it. It's always the hardest lesson. And on your way down, before you drift to sleep, know that we both wanted the same thing. Don't show your weakness, I'm beginning to see it's time for the reset. Don't you know that you need it? Long nights sleepless, I can tell that you feel it. Jump off the deep end, love, I know we can beat it. Well, the lights went black in the Adirondacks. We were thumbing our way up the road. There were lightning bugs in the graveyard dancing on top of the old headstones. And we lost ourselves in the magic there, in the moment that we had alone. And we knew it without saying nothing. We were just two lost souls trying to puzzle our way back home. Don't show your weakness, I'm beginning to see it's time for the reset. Don't you know that you need it? Long nights sleepless, I can tell that you feel it. Jump off the deep end, love, I know we can beat it. You better find the time to see through your vocation. I finally see the world as if I'm on vacation. And if you need some time, just close your eyes. Just close your eyes. Calm it down, we're not saying goodbye. I've been waiting and wondering how I could be so blind, so blind. There were shadows and warning signs, but I just pulled the wool up over my eyes. Tell me that I'm gonna be okay. Tell me that life's gonna find a way. Tell me it hurts but it goes away. Tell me it hurts but it goes away. Tell me that I'm gonna be alright. Tell me that we're gonna find a light. Tell me it hurts but it goes away. Tell me it hurts but it goes away. I've been noticing the leaves are changing colors. Why did it take so long to see myself in hers? Coming back together, different but the same. I know that I'm not the only one who feels the weight of it. So tell me that I'm gonna be okay. Tell me that life's gonna find a way. Tell me it hurts but it goes away. Tell me it hurts but it goes away. Tell me that I'm gonna be alright. Tell me that we're gonna find a light. Tell me it hurts, but it goes away. Tell me it hurts, but it goes away. I've been waiting and wondering how I could be so blind, so blind. There were shadows and warning signs, but I just put the wool up over my eyes. Tell me that I'm gonna be okay. Tell me that life's gonna find a way. Tell me it hurts, but it goes away. Tell me it hurts, but it goes away. Tell me that I'm gonna be alright. Tell me that we're gonna find the light. Tell me it hurts, but it goes away. Tell me it hurts, but it goes away. Tell me that I'm gonna be okay. Tell me that life's gonna find a way. Tell me it hurts, but it goes away. Tell me it hurts, but it goes away. Tell me that I'm gonna be alright. Tell me that we're gonna find a light. Tell me it hurts, but it goes away. 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 Tell me it hurts, but it goes away.
91.3 WYEP. We are live and direct with the Head and the Heart with at least 3 members of the band. The full band will be at Stage AE tonight. And the new album is called Every Shade of Blue. So we're here with Jonathan, Charity Rose, and also with Maddie. And 2 things that jumped out at me when I first heard the record was, first of all, wow, there's a lot of songs on this record. It's like more than an hour's worth of music. So that was one surprise for me. You guys must have been very, very busy. But the other one is the level of production. It feels like it's an elevated level than what I've heard from you guys before. So tell me about how that came to be.
Yeah, I guess more and more in the last 4 or 5 years, I've been meeting and working with different producers and pairing that with my writing process personally. There's multiple writing processes within this band, so I'll let everybody else chime in as well. But like for myself, I kind of got away from just sitting down with the guitar and starting off like this. Just kind of got burnt out on that, got burnt out of this instrument in particular. And was looking for new ways of creating, and so I started using like loops of like a saxophone or loops of a drum beat or whatever, and without being tied to any sort of accent mark with an instrument, just sort of pulling melodies out of the air and dropping that into eventually into a song. I'm not a very linear thinking person or writing individual, so yeah, I don't know, but. Yeah, I guess that answers the question. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, yeah, and I think just production. I think that the producers that we chose to work with definitely informed that. And we, for a bulk of this album, John initially met and collaborated with Jesse Shatkin, who's really, really great and comes from kind of more the pop world, working with more solo artists. So to me, it was very intriguing, like, how are you going to fare with a crazy band of 6 people? And so this album is very much a product of that. And we also worked with John Hill on a song, and then Andrew Sarlo, Maddie and I were really vibing on, who's done a lot of, like, the first initial Big Thief records that are incredible. And so it was great. He was the first person we worked with, but it was only remote. We still haven't even met him in person. But that kind of like trio of songs that we worked with him also is an extension of kind of like his taste and how he works and stuff. Caveat, it was remote, but yeah.
It sounds like there was a little bit of jumping off cliffs on this record for the band.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, and we had an excellent sort of freebase or whatever. Not freebase. That's an inappropriate thing to say. I meant what do they call the instructors that take you down in the parachutes? Free whatever. anyway, Jesse Shatkins was an incredible guy to have as like a kind of coach to kind of guide us gently down that cliff is what I was trying. I was trying to go with the metaphor, but my vocabulary is failing me right now. I've been freebasing. No, that's inappropriate for the radio. I'm sorry.
So there's the two things I think about when I think about the head and the heart that just like to me define what it is that you do. It's the voices, the harmonies, but it's also the lyrics because people really buy into the intimacy of your songs. I mean, that's why people love the head and the heart. So when you're bringing in all this new production, I mean, how do you protect that really core thing that your fans really love about you?
I mean, personally, lyrics are actually last on my mind. It's funny. I usually carry. I mean, I'll get to them, but
it seems like every time you do come around to final lyrics, though, they do tend to have like a universal sort of feel to them, and they do tend to be sort of inviting in that way.
Yeah.
I felt like that's. I mean, I'm just speaking for you, so it's kind of a hard question to answer for yourself. But like, I feel like you've always had this ability to sort of translate your experiences into sort of words that can mean a lot of things to a lot of different people, and that's like a real gift. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people go through the same things as most people, so.
I feel like I just watched a little bit of the process of how things work in the studio here. It's like, this is what you should be doing, John, and, back and forth, that sort of thing. I'm going to throw one personal question out here before we get into another song. And this is for Charity and for Maddie because you had one really huge change in your life over the last couple of years, and that is that you became parents. When you become a parent, it changes relationships that you have, whether it's with each other, with other family members, but it also can change your relationship with your career. So, how has that been for you? Has it made any difference in the way that you approach what you're going to be doing with your musical life?
Yeah, I mean, it's changed for those who've have kids. Yeah, it changes everything. And this is our first time. It's changed our day to day because now she's out on the road with us, which is very interesting and a learning curve. But I think that it really, for me, it like helps define. It brings clarity to what's important and your priorities and how you want to spend your time. And what you believe in just becomes like you just doubt less what you believe, and I think that, which has like been a long life lesson for me. And so it's like been really empowering. And like when I get on stage, it's like, wow, I have 2 hours away from her. I want to like give everything that I have, and show up hot because, that's time away. That's precious time. Amongst other factors that inspire me. But I don't know, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, it does kind of put a magnifying glass on like every chunk of your day. Every little 5 minutes you have, you realize like how precious it is in a way because you're always going to be on. You're always going to be taking care of a human life, and you also want to be like extra cognizant when you are with your child, like the feeling that you get of being really immediate. And she's really concerned about looking at this little piece of whatever on the ground, and she's getting into this nitpicky, very mindful state, and it puts you in this mindful state as well. And I think it's really helpful to sort of take you out of the sort of, to use an overused phrase for touring musicians, but this hamster wheel that we get into. We start to overthink things. You start to get into these dark modes or whatever. But when you like look around, and you say, "Oh, there's my baby," and she's just excited to see a guitar, and she wants to hear a song. She's dancing around like. And that kind of thing just immediately shifts the sort of your mental state for the better. And it's not obviously without its challenges because as soon as you jump off stage, you go right back to being a parent, which is
it's physically challenging, but I think
challenging,
mentally like really incredible to bring into work.
Well, we are here with the Head and the Heart album, Every Shade of Blue, and Stage AE is the place that they will be performing tonight. So one last song, please.
Yeah, this is Wind in the Night.
Virginia don't sound like she used to. Walking home late, smoking my lungs and whiskey burning in my veins. December won't be so forgiving. I'm haunted by a ghost of you and my past colliding. I could never go home. Wind in the night, wind in the night. Thought that I heard you laughing. Wasn't that you, my darling? Virginia don't sound like she used to. Virginia don't feel like she used to. But I can feel her heart beating for me, baby. I know her heart's beating for me, baby. Virginia don't sound like she used to. Virginia don't feel like she used to. But I can feel her heart beating for me, baby. I know her heart's beating for me, yeah. Traveled all over in my life, but nothing slowed me down. This place that I used to love, well, it's just another town. Wind in the night, wind in the night. Remember I caught you dancing alone in that first apartment. Virginia don't sound like she used to. Virginia don't feel like she used to. But I can feel her heart beating for me, baby. I know her heart's beating for me, baby. Virginia don't sound like she used to. Virginia don't feel like she used to. But I can feel her heart beating for me, baby. I know her heart's beating for me, yeah. Virginia don't sound like she used to. Virginia don't feel like she used to. But I can feel her heart beating for me, baby. I know her heart's beating for me, yeah. Virginia don't sound like she used to. Virginia don't feel like she used to. But I can feel her heart beating for me, baby. I know her heart's beating for me, baby. Virginia don't sound like she used to. Virginia don't feel like she used to. But I can feel her heart beating for me, baby. I know her heart's beating for me, yeah. The wind in the night, the wind in the night, the wind in the night, the wind in the night.
91.3 WYEP. We've been live and direct with The Head and the Heart. Every Shade of Blue is the album. Stage AE, the show tonight. Thanks to Jonathan and to Charity and to Maddie for your time and for sharing your music with us.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.